We are in Southeast Asia. We will follow a river through a landscape of mountains and forests, close to the border between Burma and Thailand. On the banks of this river, the Mon people have built their village. We will tell you about the extraordinary history that has changed their lives forever. We will tell you about their culture, their spiritual life, and more. Tropical temperatures and frequent rains made this a wet, abundantly green and misty world. When the heat of the morning sun evaporates the fog, one can begin to see the result of the tropical rains. All this water will eventually reach the valley. It's called the River Kwai. It's very early in the morning. The village is still quiet. Wan, a young Mon girl, is already awake. Today is a special day, a day when the Mon people celebrate their Piti Sadokko festival. Wan, now 15 years old, may join the festival ceremonies for the first time in her life. She leaves through the back of her house to walk to her favorite bathing place. Meanwhile, the whole village begins to wake up. Wan bathes at this place every day. She lives by herself in the village. Her parents have passed away. Her older sister works in a cigarette factory on the other side of the river. Although the Mon village is built on Thai territory, the village elders came from Burma, now known as Myanmar. They are refugees who came across the border, escaping the Burmese terrors. Wan was born in this village and doesn't know much about her ancestors' tragic history. What happened to the Mon people? They're not Thai, nor are they Burmese. Their story starts about 3,000 years ago. In a time well before the genesis of the Thai, Burmese or Vietnamese kingdoms in Southeast Asia, even as early as 1000 BC, was when the Mon migrated down, most likely over major rivers from Mongolia. Archaeological excavations show that Mon settlements stretched over a large territory, spanning from the Andaman to the South China Seas. Their settlements developed into important Mon outposts, where it's believed that they were the first to develop agriculture. They began trading with India, which enhanced their cultural development, and they brought the Buddhist doctrine over from India at the beginning of the 1st century AD. Being the first Buddhists in the region, the Mon became the spiritual and cultural teachers of Southeast Asia, as other ethnic groups gradually populated the region. They managed to establish several states. As neighboring kingdoms were defining their borders, the Mon established Ramonia as their definitive kingdom, which for centuries was an important cultural center. Its people were socially developed, peaceful, and Buddhist. The Burmese, however, sought to expand their territories, and in 1757 they invaded Ramonia. The Mons were slaughtered. Their cities, including their capital Pegu, were destroyed. Ramonia was gone forever. The remaining Mon people had to endure the formidable cruelty of the Burmese dictatorship. These teachers of Southeast Asia lost their freedom, their culture, their identity. In recent history, small groups of Mon people still manage to escape over the border to what is now called Thailand. Now, some 3,000 of these gentle Buddhist people live in this village. They have built themselves a new life in a free country. Historically, the relationship between the Mon and the Thais has been harmonious. The Thais appreciate the ancient Mon people for their gentleness and natural beauty. The Mon are allowed to live here in peace, but are regarded officially as Burmese, and they do not enjoy the same privileges as their Thai hosts. They are merely allowed to stay within the immediate district. The Mon people are skilled craftsmen. They make all kinds of tools by themselves, like harpoons or these fishing traps. They have little choice, since they cannot afford to buy any goods. Essentially, they use materials found in their natural habitat. But from this they are able to build entire houses. Bamboo is their primary building material. It's surprising to see what they can do with it. Palm leaves are used for roofing. In the rainy season, the roof will need some extra attention. The wooden bridge was also made by the Mon village people. It's a major achievement. It connects to the other side of the river, making it possible to reach a small Thai town. Now they are able to sell their goods at the market there. Some of the village people had the luck to find some work on the other side. The 432-meter-long bridge was entirely built by hand. The villagers spent more than a year building it. It is now the longest wooden bridge in Thailand. On the other side of the river there's a small cigarette factory. One's sister is working there, together with some other Mon girls. They earn meagre wages. What little they earn is shared with the other villagers. When you have nothing, you can be satisfied with very little. The fact that the Mon people of this village are left in peace allows them the freedom to celebrate their culture with traditional festivals. The villagers are looking forward to the ceremony that takes place at their mountain temple, graciously built for them by a local Thai Buddhist society. Wan is making preparations for the festival. The women will make food offerings to the monks at the temple. She has been busy at it all morning and is running a little late. Wearing traditional dress, she is ready to take her offerings up the mountain. The other women are already far ahead. They carry their offerings to the monks. According to Buddhist tradition, monks are only allowed to eat in the morning. The women must be there on time. Wan is still walking through her village. The village is completely deserted. Everybody's already on their way to the temple. She must hurry to catch up with them. This is not easy, balancing offerings on her head while walking on the wet, slippery ground. She manages to reach the mountain without an accident and can now begin her climb. The others have already reached the temple and laid out the food for the monks. Wan manages to arrive in time with her offerings. The monks are eating in a private chamber. They are supposed to concentrate on the act of eating and avoid thoughts about satisfaction of the senses. Since the senses are unsatisfiable, desiring satisfaction brings unhappiness. The austerity these monks embrace by following the path of Buddha is a choice made of their own volition. When the monks have finished eating, more offerings are made. The monks are highly respected, for they seek to attain a higher awareness. The village people offer incense and flowers to the monks as a symbol of their respect. The ceremony is full of symbolic rituals. The monks are spiritually empowered. A ritual is performed where the monks walk on people's backs. Its purpose is to bring on prosperity. Finally, the monks enter the bot of the temple, where they will pray to the image of Buddha. The praying is in the ancient language of Pali. Phrases from Buddha's teachings are frequently repeated. Buddhism is basically different from other religions. The Lord Buddha is not considered a god. The man known to the world as Buddha was born as Prince Siddhartha, 623 years BC, in the city-state of Lumpini in present-day Nepal. He lived a life of luxury in the palace, secluded from the world outside. One day, at the age of 29, for the first time in his life, he went outside the palace walls. He was shocked by the reality he witnessed on the outside. He saw unhappy people, sick people, poverty, beggars, a dead man. He returned to the palace and appealed to the wise men of the court. Why should mankind suffer such torment? And what can I, a prince, do to bring happiness to the world? No one was able to give him an acceptable answer. One night he left the palace, his family and luxurious life, never to return to it. He travelled deep into the forest and swore to himself that he would find the cause of human suffering. After 6 years of self-torture, of counselling the wise, and meditating on the subject of suffering, he was finally able to see the answer. He saw that every human being is looking to the external world to fulfill happiness and love. But one has to look for happiness and love within one's own heart. Everything in this world is temporary, and people attach themselves to the temporal. Man suffers because he tries to fulfill himself with the unfulfillable. As humans, we fail to see how we are trapped by our dependence on awareness of the senses. Siddhartha meditated on this for another 7 weeks. He found his newly manifested belief to be true. He discovered ways to calm the senses and the mind, to find the path to happiness. And these discoveries became known to the world as the path of Buddha. While meditating under a Bodhi tree at the age of 35, Siddhartha became the enlightened Gautama Buddha. He spent the rest of his life free of fear, filled with love and happiness, free to preach his teachings. In Buddhism, one doesn't need to be a monk to take the right path. Buddha teaches of the middle way, one that can prevent suffering in the world. 2,546 years after Buddha's death, his timeless philosophy still carries great relevance. Praying to Buddha means nothing more than to be reminded of the real truth of life. Today, Buddhism certainly gives the Mon people the strength to find happiness, even though they have long lost a homeland. After the monastic ceremony, the festival continues with dance and music. It is almost midnight, and rising balloons are the signal that the night offerings may begin. The Mon villagers are gathered around a fire to burn incense. They have built a 10-meter-long bamboo boat. The boat is behind the fires, barely recognizable because of all the colorful offerings attached to it. As the Mon people pray, they ask for forgiveness for their consummation of the waters of the river, believing that this will generate an auspicious karma. Wan has never gone to sleep so late in her life. She sleeps deeply through the morning tumult. The bamboo boat is now completely covered with the offerings presented during the night. Now the villagers will take the boat to the river.